Welcome to the Queen of Hearts podcast. And here's the queen herself, registered dietitian Heather Klug.
Hello, ladies. Welcome to the Queen of Hearts podcast. For today's episode, we are live from Bethany's dining room.
Woohoo, the purple dining room.
Yeah, we are doing a little bit of social distancing for this podcast. Yes, and maybe for the next few weeks.
I feel like we should have a candelabra in between us with some opulent fruits and things.
Oh, yes.
Because you're so far away from
I know,
me.
this is a little strange. But the reason we are doing it from Bethany's dining room is that we work in a hospital, and all non-essential staff, because they're restricting visitors at the hospital, are to work from home, just so we can help in preventing the spread of coronavirus.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are here today in Bethany's dining room, and we are going to be talking about a topic that I think would be very timely with coronavirus. And
what would that topic be, Heather?
That would be about managing stress and anxiety.
Yes.
While we were all doing our social distancing and living mostly from our homes.
So what are you currently doing to prevent the virus and to kind of keep yourself calm and everything in your house?
Yeah, so in my house, so I've got my husband, my two kids, we've got two dogs, so it's a little crazy at times.
I bet.
And because my kids are home from school and they're doing virtual learning. It's been a little bit of a challenging week, I have to say, trying to...
Look at you being diplomatic.
Well, because I'm trying to balance things, right? Because I still need to work, but then my kids need help with schoolwork at times, and dogs want to be played with. They're like, ooh, you're home, play with me.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a little challenging. So mostly what I'm trying to do is try to not watch too much TV. I got to keep the news off and sometimes just turn the TV off so I don't go crazy. It's like I want to know things. But then if I find myself getting a little too stressed or worked up, I feel like I need to just, I'm like, okay, I got to shut it off and I got to do something else.
Yeah, totally understandable. Well, I have a little different situation here. No kids, so that helps. My dog, who is over in the living room snoozing away. He's 14, so he's a little calmer. He's not always
demanding. I can hear him sleeping.
I know. You might hear snoring or barking in the background. We apologize. He's pretty calm. So my husband is still working at his office every day. So I have the house to myself. So I have the quiet that, you're longing for.
Right.
So, but he comes in and he's kind of stressed out from work and he doesn't want to talk. And I'm like, oh my God, I need human contact. We also are doing a lot of sanitizing since he's the one going out all the time. He comes home, I sanitize the doorknobs, and then he washes his hands, takes off his shoes, before anything else happens. So we've got that going on here, which is a little, it's kind of adding to the stress, I think, a little bit.
Right.
So,
yeah. So I thought today we'd talk a little bit about what are maybe some of the signs and symptoms of anxiety a little bit, because I don't think they're always very obvious to everybody. I think people think my heart rate is getting up. They know that.
Yeah.
Right. But they might not know some of the other things. And Bethany has sort of a history with this, if you want to explain that.
Yeah. So I suffer myself from some generalized anxiety disorder. I have since I was in my 20s. Kind of all the women in my family have a little bit of this anxiety. So it's just something that I've kind of been dealing with the bulk of my adult life. So I'm not a mental health professional, but I know a lot just from my own personal experience and my own experience with therapy and psychiatrists and all of this other stuff. And anxiety is one of those things that it's okay in small doses, but if it gets to be too much, it can start having some major impacts on your heart. Everything from it changes your body's stress response, so it can promote inflammation in your arteries, which leads to, tears and things and, clots and things and
Yeah, I don't think people think about it from that angle.
It's kind of a weird thing to think about. People with anxiety sometimes have lower levels of omega-3 fatty acids, which can be linked to a higher risk of heart disease. And it actually can make your platelets, like, for lack of a better word, sticky.
Yeah.
So, and then of course is the other thing that comes with anxiety, which is it kind of can lead us to self-soothe with behaviors that aren't exactly good for us. Smoking, overeating, drinking alcohol, those kinds of things. So in order to figure out whether or not you're having some anxiety, I'm sure people out there probably already know. Yeah. Because I think right now more people than don't have some form of anxiety or stress with all of that's going on. But you might have difficulty sleeping. You might be suffering from problems concentrating.
That one is mine, I have to say. Because Bethany sent me the list a couple days ago, and I was looking it over.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, I don't have most of those. Oh, I have trouble concentrating. That was a big one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feelings of anger, feeling anxious, feeling worried or panicked, feeling helpless. I think right now a lot of us are feeling helpless. What can we do to stop this or slow it down?
Or just the uncertainty.
Sure.
Right? We don't know how long we're going to be.
Exactly. And it changes every day. It seems like even hour to hour.
Yeah.
You might be oversensitive about your own health, your own body, any symptoms you might have that may have absolutely nothing to do with this coronavirus, but you cough and then, oh my God, coughing is a symptom and you freak yourself out.
Yeah, that was me earlier this week. Because, well, and to be fair, I've had it for like a week and a half. So I'm just like,
That's
I keep
true.
checking my temperature because I'm like, I don't think I have it because I don't have most of the symptoms.
Right.
But then they'll say, oh, well, sometimes people just present with a dry cough. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I have it? And I'm giving it to my family. But I'm like, okay, I'm maybe turning this into something bigger than it needs to be.
Right.
It seems more upper respiratory. I think I either just have a cold or allergies because it's that time of year. And this is when it starts for me. So,
and you know, the temperature has been bouncing around. Like we've had 30-degree temperature swings and stuff. So everything's out there right now.
Yeah. So be careful not to make it more than it's than it really is.
Be vigilant, but don't freak yourself out. And at the same time, be aware of other people. I realize we're going out less and less because more and more is being shut down. But, you know, people can freak out if someone else coughs. And, you know, you don't need to go screaming to your car because somebody coughed in the supermarket.
Yeah.
Just make sure you wash your hands. Make sure you wash your items when you bring them home. All of that kind of stuff. You know, these are just things to be aware of.
And then what about even just like social withdrawal? Is that kind of another one?
Yeah, social withdrawal, which I should point out is different from self-isolation.
Okay.
What we're all kind of being encouraged to do. To self-isolation is more if you're ill with this disease, they're telling you to isolate yourself, meaning don't have any contact with people physically inside your home. Social withdrawal is more pulling within yourself. This is something that I struggle with myself when I'm anxious or feeling depressed, where you don't want to talk to people. You don't want to, you know, deal with people. It can feel way too overwhelming. And so you just kind of cut people off. You go radio silent. You stop answering texts, stop answering phone calls. And it's hard to kind of draw people out when, especially now, you can't necessarily run over to somebody's house and check on them.
Right.
You know, so it's going to be a little.
So be careful if you're doing that yourself, right? And try to catch it maybe and say,
to, you know, even if you can alert people in your life to the fact that you do this, and a lot of times they'll already know if they know you well at all, and just say, I might need a little help moving forward.
Okay. All right. Well, what about, what are some things that might help people if they're feeling a little bit more stress or anxiety, things they can do at home?
Yeah. So the first one is my biggest belief in a situation like this is knowledge is power. So make sure you're getting reliable info. I know we're being bombarded constantly with the news and all of that. And just keep in mind, the media is not trying to make everybody panic, but I think the media does have a tendency to latch on to some of the more sensational aspects of the virus. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or you're not sure about what you're hearing, go to a trusted resource. Go to the World Health Organization or the CDC website. You can go to the Advocate Aurora website. They're updating constantly all of this information too. So make sure you're getting good information.
Usually things that end, if you're online, they usually end in .gov, .org, .edu.
Right.
Careful.com. Those are usually
companies. And I'd like
companies.
to add, with all that said, take a break from the news when you can. It's changing literally faster than we've ever seen news change probably before. So it's always going to be there, and it's going to change. So if you miss it this hour and you don't catch it till 5 o'clock, it's fine. You're not going to miss anything that's not going to be wrapped up. And like myself, I try to maintain just the local news.
So don't keep the TV on all day.
No, that would not probably be very healthy for you.
What about step 3, setting a routine?
Set a routine and try to keep to it. This is going to be a little tough for people who are working from home. We all know our routine when we go to work every day. Trying to transfer that into a home environment when you have kids running around, when you have a spouse running around, when you have pets running around is tricky. But if you can find some things that you can keep the same, find those hours of the day where you're the most productive, where maybe the kids, if they're little, they're taking a nap. If they're older, they're working on a project. Those are your set hours to work. Like you and your husband and your kids might need to juggle Wi-Fi, so everybody gets their time, and build in some time to take breaks for yourself. Take the dog for a walk, whatever. Just understand that your routine at home is not going to be the same as it is at work.
Yes.
And think about it. You're not sitting at your desk or whatever all day without a break. You are getting up. You are having moments. So stay virtually connected to the positive people in your life. Obviously, stay connected to your work teams and everything like that. But make sure you have people out there that you can reach out to who aren't constantly bombarding you with stuff that stresses you out.
Yeah.
What
about those negative people in our lives when they contact us? How do we handle those people? I don't have any of those people in my life.
Neither do I. My suggestion would be set those personal boundaries. Just say, I can't talk about this right now, or I'm really stressed out. And if worst comes to worst, just stop responding.
Okay. Be a good advocate for yourself.
Exactly. Be prepared. Having a sense of preparation of stuff will make you feel a little bit more at ease. Don't hoard by all means, but
You mean we don't need a year's worth of toilet paper?
No, nobody does. And if you do, you've got other problems going on.
But, and the grocery stores are nice and stocked for most things.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So about 2 weeks worth of food is generally recommended.
And healthy food. Make sure you're eating healthy throughout all of this. This is not, as you would say, this is not time for a free-for-all.
Right.
Allow yourself.
Not a license to eat whatever the heck you want.
Exactly. Allow yourself treats, as you normally would, but keep yourself healthy by eating healthy.
Yeah, and we'll do another podcast on that as well. That'll be coming out soon.
Make time for self-care. Make time for exercise. Make time for fresh air. You can go out and about. You can be walking around. Just keep those safe distances. Keep your 6 feet or more. There's lots of apps out there right now that are giving expanded free trials so that you can have 60 days to do exercise apps or classes, or
there's stuff on YouTube.
Debbie Allen taught a dance class on Instagram the other day. I mean, use it, people.
Turn on the, radio, Spotify, whatever, and turn on some music and dance in your living room if you need to.
There's a lot of things we can do because let's face it, we don't know how long we're going to be doing this. It's probably going to be longer than we originally planned. So being prepared, knowing what works for you. Like for me, I've been doing paint by numbers, which is very relaxing. You don't have to think too much about it. It's just very zen. I like to read. I try to keep my sleep routine exactly the same as I do during work.
Yeah.
I've altered when I go to bed because I've altered when I get up a little bit because I don't have to drive in.
Yeah.
But everything else is the same. I'm not staying up till 2 in the morning and sleeping in till 11. It's all very routine.
Can I just add something about the exercise and why that's so crucial?
Sure.
Because in times like now, your stress levels are a little bit higher, right? And a good way to dampen those a little bit more is with exercise, right? So when we're exercising, it's going to control the stress hormones a little bit more because your body doesn't know if it's a physical stressor it's dealing with or an above the neck stressor. It just knows you're stressed. So it needs a way to deal with all those extra hormones that are kind of going through your circulation system.
Sure, right.
So exercise is a way to help, again, dampen some of that.
Yeah.
And even small amounts are really helpful. It's not like you have to do 30 minutes at a time. Even 5 to 10 minutes here or there is going to be helpful.
Exactly. And another thing to mention too is meditation, deep breathing, those kinds of things. When you're feeling that panic rise up, when you're feeling helpless, when you're feeling out of control and you need to take it down a notch, that works. There's a lot of good apps out there for that. And, or if it works for you and it's weird to other people, do what works for you. Trivia questions work for me. I get out the Trivial Pursuit cards, I read them to myself, I answer them, and it shuts my brain way down.
Okay.
And, whatever works. At this point, we're doing what works to keep ourselves healthy.
Yeah, for me, it's music. If I'm sanitizing the house, I turn on some music I like, and I'm embarrassing my children because I'm singing and dancing.
How can you embarrass them? There's nobody there.
They're still embarrassed.
Make sure you keep the drapes open so the neighbors can see you.
There you go. All right, so basically we just need to find, I think, our own things that work for us, right? And keep trying different things. If something doesn't work, try something else.
Right.
Kind of like figuring out, I would call it like a toolbox. So your own stress management toolbox.
Exactly.
Your own bliss toolbox, whatever you want to call it, right?
Exactly. Just, try to keep your life as close to what it would normally be as possible. And, honestly, look at these moments as it's a little gift, because how often are we talking about we don't ever have time to do anything?
Yeah.
We don't have time at home. We don't have time to do this. We don't have time to do that. Well, now we've got a lot of time.
I may actually get my basement cleaned out.
Oh, nothing is that drastic. No. Times are not that dire, rather.
All right. So anything else you want to mention to people?
No, just stay healthy out there. Make sure you're washing your hands and keep that distance between people and yourself.
And find ways to manage stress and anxiety.
Exactly.
All right. Well, until next time, ladies, be the ruler of your own heart. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us on the Queen of Hearts podcast. Our podcast is recorded here at the Karen Yance Women's Cardiac Awareness Center inside Aurora St. Luke's Medical Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. For more heart-healthy tips, info, recipes, and more, visit our website at www.karenyancecenter.org, like us on Facebook at Karen Yance Center, and follow us on Pinterest. If you like what you hear, subscribe to our show and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, ladies, be ruler of your own heart.